try to get some
Those
grants,
guys,
it made more sense just to.
Yeah,
if-
because the louvers you can work
when
on
it's done,
even when the entrance open. But if you want to send me
the
the
entrance
proposal,
down started with this.
louvers right ahead.
Yeah,
Same type of
okay.
thing.
So what are you gonna get, Marvin or
Came out of the
something?
house one day and was over a couple of.
I forget what they were, forget whose they were originally, but we threw the bids out because
Yeah, but now you gotta go to wood.
now we're gonna go to wood, so that's up to,
So really, that's
They had
probably the only one you
see
can
this
get.
you could get for
that should be cheap.
planning board.
Marvin.
It was from Bloom County. You had sent it out back.
But it's a long process, man.
The last one
Step
is
one,
on
submit,
April
reconstruction, now it's
17th.
going to step two, a little bit more detail and costing.
Letter went out. Brochure went
Then the
out.
project
It
is
said
selected.
Wednesday.
Then it goes to
April
step
7th.
three,
So I
which is rendering.
contacted Bloom County.
It'll be
I
next
said,
year
I
before
said,
we-
Cornell University. I said, thanks for pointing out, it's a Thursday. So if anybody asks, Wednesday, the 17th of August is really Thursday, the 17th of August.
We're just
I
looking
doubt
at
it.
everything you got there.
Because I was gonna see if it doesn't conflict with this.
Interesting.
Do an hour and a half.
So Carly's gonna take it now.
You got transoms, you got stained glass.
I'm afraid that I'm not gonna do that. There you go.
Hey Ed, check with
Fantastic.
Emily.
Oh, hey. 5940. That could sign up before they should do that.
The files are not upstairs, so I wasn't able to look at any of them.
I'm trying to think when it came through for you guys. Was it June? Yeah. Oh, so we get these ones.
Did you see this? Did they send it to everybody or not?
I did not. We had not seen it.
I'll read it for the record.
Yeah,
That's the- it's-
was them or their neighbor?
This is them and that's their neighbor.
Oh, 41
Basically,
pages.
that's what the letter's all about.
Oh, this is the back guy. See? Oh,
Side yard finish.
side and back.
Yeah.
It's when you kind of.
Yep.
Uh-huh. Does put it in the back. Ooh, well,
Okay, we're going to call this meeting to order. We'll start by standing up and reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. Roll call, please, Cindy.
Chair Lorenzo,
Here.
Rebecca Anderson,
here.
Thomas Lopez,
Here.
Anthony Gorski,
Here.
Joseph Keith,
Here.
Lawrence Rosinski,
Here.
Michael Ryan.
Here. Okay, welcome everyone. This is a meeting of the Planning Board of the Town of Lancaster. Please keep in mind that we are an advisory and recommending board, not a final decision-making body. The rules of the Planning Board allow us to recognize only the petitioners of various projects and their representatives. We ask that anyone wishing to make comment do so in writing. Okay, we will now take a look at the meeting minutes from July 19th. Any additions, deletions, or comments from the board? Hearing none, ask for a motion to accept.
Second.
Second, okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Next, we'll turn to the communications list. Apologize for getting it out too late. It was my fault. Any questions?
On the email from Matt regarding the minor subdivision of 60 Pleasant View, whoever made the motion, I thought we said with the condition that the barn comes down on transfer of title, but we may have missed that in the minutes because it wasn't in there. So that was a condition that Matt wanted, the barn comes down. We talked about it. Remember, we talked about it because I asked Matt what your perfect wording was, and then it didn't get in our recommendation, and it did not get in the minutes. I don't think. Now, maybe it did, but I don't think we had that wording in there as well. So, is there a way that we could reopen this issue and just comment, or just bring it up as a note in the minutes that it should be a condition for the town board?
Minutes from the previous meeting, right?
It might have been.
I think it was.
That's
First-
right.
the first
Yeah,
time.
it would have been the first time they came through.
Right,
And that's
because-
where I messed up, Cindy. I didn't look at it.
The owner of the property indicated that, well, I'm not gonna take the barn down if it doesn't sell.
Right.
Right, and then we said,
Right.
okay,
Yeah, we had
upon
that whole
transfer
discussion.
of
Correct.
on transfer of ownership.
That's exactly, the wording was supposed to be a condition upon transfer of title or ownership if the barn comes down. And it didn't get into our recommendation.
I think that was the last meeting in June.
So,
Well, I didn't go back far enough in the minutes, Cindy, I apologize. I was up a meeting too far, and then I got distracted probably by something. So perhaps we could just make a note of it tonight, that we had a discussion regarding that condition that Matt wanted, and make sure that the town board knows about it. Because it's out of our hands now, we've passed it along. But I just wanted to make sure somewhere that the town board knows that they passed that condition in there.
Emily, what would you think would be the right way to do it?
make a recommendation to the town board that that commission is where you want it.
So we could do that now, or,
Yep,
well then, I'd like to make do I have to make a motion?
make a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we add a recommendation, as we just discussed, for, what was that, 60 Pleasant View Drive, that upon
Transfer.
transfer of property, that the barn is removed upon transfer of title. It's a two-lot subdivision. So we talked about the driveway, and they had changed the driveway. So that's my motion.
And I will second that. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Thank you. Now I feel better. Well, what was that? And then the other thing we're going to ask about was the last piece of correspondence that you just brought up to me.
Yep, and I'll talk about that at the end of the meeting. I'll make sure that it gets distributed to everybody. I'll read the letter and I'll distribute it.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, before we get into the agenda, there are a couple of different housekeeping items that we have to take care of. At our last meeting, we had a negative declaration for 5767 and 5775 Genesee Street. We're going to I'm going to make a motion to rescind that negative declaration and cancel the public hearing until a later date. The reason being that we did the site plan without the subdivision. We need them together.
Is that the rezone?
Yes.
We did seeker on the rezone, we did not include the subdivision of property. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying, yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to have to rescind that negative declaration recommendation and cancel the public hearing again until a later date. And again, I made a motion for that. If anyone would like to second, okay?
I'll second that.
All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Great. And then the last one, I will make a motion to rescind the public hearing for 728 Aurora Street. We did that last meeting as well, and we have a late publication error, and we don't have enough time, so we have to move the public hearing back.
So you're making,
I'll make a motion for that as well.
I'll second that.
All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Great, thank you. We'll move on to the agenda, and we are going to start with project number 1594, minor subdivision, two-lot split at 5943 Genesee Street. Mr. Goransky.
Good evening, everyone. Fred Goransky here on behalf of the Schofield family and all the children for subdivision for 5943 Genesee Street, SPL 94.00-2-17.1. Any questions on the application before I make a presentation? Okay, this is a approximate 23-acre lot that was owned by the Schofield family, Mr. Schofield and his 6 children as remaindermen. His daughter and her husband asked to have the homestead and a 3-acre parcel divided so that they could have it. The remaining acreage is still retained by the family. Mr. Schofield owns it as a life tenant, and the children own it as remainderment. There is no structures on that side. It is undeveloped. And the property was transferred, it was last year, May of last year, so it's been a little while before we got in front of you. Mr. Ficione did present us with comments. I'd like to address those. I believe you've all received that correspondence, but there are 3 points. Actions considered unlisted pursuant to 6 CRR-New York 617 seeker. There's a point here, the removal of a dilapidated garage and debris sorted in piles shall be a condition of the approval. I've spoken with the family, specifically Mr. and Mrs. Magnica on this property. They initially thought that they could keep up 2 walls of this garage or barn and then repair it. They have now agreed to remove the entire garage in full. They're going to retain some of the siding and store it in the garage separately, and then at some point in the future they're going to rebuild, but they go through the appropriate process to do that. Third point, the provision shall be made through a binding agreement filed with both parcels to accept surface runoff from the 3-acre site on to the remaining portion of land and pond structure. I've spoken with the town attorney, Tom Fowler, regarding this as to the appropriate agreement and how this would be done. We talked in terms of having a separate agreement filed with the Erie County Clerk's Office attached to both parcels, and we also talked in terms of a amended deed to both parcels, which would reflect the agreement, as we'll call it, or it would be an easement of sorts. So any future purchasers and current purchasers would know that there is this restriction on the property. That was not prepared before this meeting. It was not filed before this meeting, frankly. Both of these provisions, we were waiting to see what the commentary would be before we went ahead and did any of these things. Again, it's been a year plus getting here. If there is a hard date as to when you want the agreement prepared and reviewed, we can have that again. I've had the discussions with Attorney Fowler. And if you want a hard date as to the removal of the garage, let us know, and I'll let Mr. McNeeka know, and it will be done by that time. Any questions? I'll ask the board for your approval and recommendation to the full town board.
So, Emily, is this one been referred out?
Yeah, 30 days has gone by.
It has been, and the 30 days have gone by
Yeah,
already?
29th it was.
Okay, so we can actually do seeker then? Okay, and it'd be a short form? Okay. Any questions from the board at all?
Just- I understand the reason why we require drainage, because at some point, the rest of the property gets split up, you got one house draining on to somebody else. Where does it go? It just goes on to the drainage just comes off the 3/8 apart and just naturally goes on to the rest of the property at this time. Somewhere.
Yeah,
Somewhere.
the family assures me, and at least
Not a
with
problem.
the topographical survey, there's no environmental issues, there is no real
No.
runoff here. This seems to be more a belt and suspenders approach than an actual problem, because there's never been an issue regarding
Yeah,
runoff.
I went out and looked and said, you know, just, I try and look at every property at some point or another that comes before us, and I don't have any. I think the frame garage needs to go. The garage is, you know, and any debris or anything needs to be cleaned up. That was a while ago that I looked when it first came in. I don't know if we've done anything since.
What I can tell you, what I've been advised, is that the family removed most of the debris, and most of it was as a result of the storm. They removed most of the debris, and what is remaining are 2 standing walls and the siding, which is called hemlock board or barn board.
Is
however
it like
it's
board
described.
on batten, that board on board siding?
I believe so, yes. And he wanted to retain that wood. He said there was some value in that wood.
Yes,
Yeah. So he wanted to retain that. He hopes to retain that and rebuild at some point in the future. And again, he'll
it works for me.
Ed, do you have any questions?
No, drainage is the only one they're addressing that with the cross easements.
Okay. Matt, any questions or comments from you? Councilmember Mazer? Okay. So then we should do seeker at this point?
Yeah, my only question that he didn't get an answer to is when do they have to have these things done by? And do you just want to say that the agreement with the drainage has to be finished before it gets to town board?
Yeah.
The easement should be in place, yeah.
It has to be in place.
Yeah, Tom would know that. When Tom gets the filing receipt, he'll know. it's-
Right,
Yeah.
you asked
Yeah.
the question, we didn't
Right.
answer it for you.
Well, I was in contact with Attorney Fowler, and that's why you got the answer that I gave you. He and I spoke about it, and we agreed that once we get approval, or at least we know the next step, we would prepare the
Okay.
agreement and go forward at that point. It wasn't a heavy lift.
Short form,
Short form.
short form. Find the short form.
I have one.
I have one. We all have one.
Okay. Will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulations?
No.
Will the proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of use of land?
No.
Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community?
No.
Skip 4. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway?
No.
Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities? Will the proposed action impact existing public or private water supplies? Public or private wastewater treatment utilities? Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources? Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources?
No.
Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems?
No.
Nope.
Will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health?
No.
Public hearing?
Public hearing, and then we can hopefully have an agreement by that meeting.
Right, so we'd have to table seeker at this, right? We can't do a negative deck right now without the public hearing, or can we?
Yeah.
You can do those seeker, we just can't make a recommendation.
Recommendation
Board
to
on
the
site.
board until the public hearing is done, right? Okay. So I'll look for a motion for negative declaration.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And we can set the public hearing for the next meeting at this point, right, or not? Or we have to wait 30 days? No, 30 days is up already.
Yeah,
Just for this, so that would be September 16th.
September 6th, public hearing. And I know that it's been a long road, but we are getting, it might not seem it, but we are getting a lot closer.
Thank you so much. I do appreciate all of your help and time here tonight. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
September 6th at 7 o'clock, or 7:05. I'm sorry, yes. I'll make a motion to have a public hearing for 5943 Genesee Street, September 6th at 7:05.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Great. Thank you. Frank.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a nice night. Okay, the next one we'll talk about is 4401 Walden Avenue.
Good evening.
Hello.
I'm Justin White on behalf of the permit applicant, Empire. This is I believe it's a 40 by 40 addition that's being intended to facilitate storage in the existing business. And as far as I know, the only reason we're back on permitting is because they had a false start. Is that right, Mr. Piccione? They had a false start on some of the work they were trying to do?
Somewhat, yeah, somewhat. They got started with the secondary addition.
Yeah.
Everything previous to that, 1,000 square foot. The interior work was already permitted.
Okay. So it's a vanilla box storage area. I hope there's no issue or concern, but if there are, I'd be happy to respond as best I can.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the board? No. Ed, anything from you?
No, I already signed up.
Emily, anything from the legal department? Matt, building department.
There was no concern.
Okay, great. Councilmember Mazer. It's type, it's short form, right? Long form?
Type 2.
No, nothing needed?
Yeah.
Oh, even better.
You can just you can go to approval, or not approval.
Yeah, yeah.
whatever the board wishes.
Okay, look for a recommendation then, right?
I'll make a recommendation that we approve per the documents submitted.
Great. Second, anybody?
One second.
All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Make a recommendation to the town board for approval. Great. Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time this evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Have a good night. So the last one that we have on the agenda is Tool Ranch. I guess we can talk about Tool Ranch at this point.
I know it's there, as I see it when I pass by.
Matt, do you want to give us an overview again?
Parking lot's installed, the fence is installed. I don't know what stage the surface grading is, the yard areas. It's yet to see any maintenance in 2023. There's trees that are 6-7 feet tall. I'm not sure what they're doing at that facility. We were back and forth with the DEC with the SWIP requirement. They weren't able to substantiate their recommendation. So, we have to concede, but, I would ask that before they finish their work, that they physically mark out their boundaries, their limits of disturbance, so that it doesn't go beyond that. Install, get the lawn germinated, and maintain it. For 2 years, perhaps 2.5 years in an enforcement action, and here we are, end of the season.
Yeah, we were trying to get him here for this meeting, but it fell through. I think part of it had to do with the SWIFT discussion. I don't know. But we're hopeful that we're going to see him next time.
Well, they want it to be on mid-September.
Oh, okay.
Vacation.
So
So we won't see him next time.
I think the feeling was that we would bring it up in discussion, and that if the decision was made, that way enforcement could be done.
Yeah. That's what we're trying to get to, right? Okay. I really don't even know what else to say about them at this point.
Well, I mean, is there a possibility to obtain outside counsel or legal counsel to limit the approval and pretty much force the completion of the project this year? I mean, like I said, it's 2 years into this thing. It's an illegal installation.
What do you think, Emily?
I don't know what other conditions to force the completion no later than X amount of days, months. However, it is something reasonable to force. Could prove it in September and have it done by October 1, because it's impossible.
Well, and you're looking for lawn germination too, right? At the end of September.
Time of year to do it, October, November.
I mean, if you approved it now and gave them 90 days, that'd be plenty, I think. You're talking,
Something we can talk with Tom about.
approve it now, you're talking the end of October. You can germinate this fall.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise if they're not going to come in until mid-September.
You're pushing it here.
Beginning of October for approval. And
Yeah,
that-
that's pushing that.
Right. So,
Or for
Well,
approval.
I just want to be positive that it's proper, limit the approval.
I don't have an answer right now for that. I'm not sure.
we'll have to do some more digging on it.
You're saying to limit the approval less than the 90 days?
Well, less than 2
2
years
years.
are allowed in October.
Yeah, if we keep kicking it down, the can down the road, which is what we've been doing,
Yeah.
it's not going to get done. And the clock's going to run out.
Put it on for the next, I don't know. I don't have the answer for you right now. I'm not sure.
Well, if you make a motion to have them complete within 90 days and it's deemed that it is not legal or
Well, then the
right
right
process, then you could rescind at the next meeting.
resend it and it just wouldn't make it to the town board. Well,
So we can make that motion now and then rescind it if it doesn't, if it's something that
We can do
we're
that.
not supposed to be doing.
yeah, we could do that.
Okay? Anybody have a thought on that from the board?
Is it going to go to the board before before we know if
Because you
it's,
can make a recommendation to the town board, and the town board could look at it and say, we're not approving this because of this limitation on it. Well, and they can, at the town board, you can change the approval to not have that limitation, or just not make any.
Just not do it?
Yeah.
Not take our
Ask
recommendation?
for a new recommendation.
Seems like it's a step in the right direction.
Between now and town board, I can figure it out for you.
Your town board meeting wouldn't be until August the 21st, then it would be addressed, and you have another planning board meeting on the 16th.
Okay.
You'll know before that.
Seems like it's
so
the way
that's
to go to me.
plenty of time then to rescind before it even goes to the board if we need to.
Right.
Sounds like a perfect plan.
So in preparing for this tonight, I did go back in time here, and it appears our seeker on January 18th, 2023 was tabled due to the stormwater questions.
So we haven't finished the seeker yet?
No. Items number 9 and 10 were still open.
So no recommendation tonight.
And then we can finish it.
We should probably finish seeker at this point then, right?
Since we found out.
Yeah. Need a motion to reopen seeker.
Are you making one?
I'm making a motion to reopen the seeker.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay. That was a long form?
Short one.
It's short.
Short, great.
It was a drainage one.
Oh, okay. Number 9 and 10, awesome. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in natural resources? No. Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems?
Apparently not. It was decided that it was no, right?
Yeah, the question we were going back and forth with DEC was.
If they needed to split.
Right.
Right.
And
At first,
it's
at first DEC said yes, based on some conditions, and then they came back and said, no.
So the answer then is no.
No. Okay. So now, I think we need a motion to make a recommendation for a negative declaration.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, now we can make a recommendation, right?
Yeah.
Anybody care to take a stab at that one?
Joe usually is pretty good at those.
It's a little bit too confusing at the moment.
It is confusing. What,
Feels like a chair type of thing to me.
I think we should,
Maybe Emily could help us with the wording.
Yeah, Emily, how do you want this, or what would be the best way for us to protect the town?
That the building department requirements are completed within 90 days, is that what we need to have?
The project build out.
Okay, so the condition that the project build-out is completed in 90 days from town board approval, from the date of town board approval.
Okay. Did you get all that, Cindy? I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Great.
well, we moved somewhere with it.
We,
You didn't.
yeah. Couple other items real quick. I have the draft schedule for next year. I'm going to send it out to everybody via email. Take a look at it and let me know what your thoughts are. Similar to anything else that I've sent to you. If you've got comments, great. If you don't, that's fine too. But I'll send it out to you. It's got the full year, and I think actually not I think I know, it has every single date on there. So if there's some that you think, the one that pops to my head right off the top of my head is July 3rd is on there.
Okay.
Obviously, if you don't feel like we should be meeting July 3rd, and I'm with you on that, then just let me know. Ed, you want to give an update on where we are with the planning department? Remember, we had a meeting. So we had a meeting. I'm sorry, Ed, to cut you off for a second before you even started. Last meeting, I told you that we were. I talked to the board and said that we were having a meeting to talk about getting a planning department in the town of Lancaster, and we did have a meeting. Our first kickoff meeting. It was Tom Fowler, Ed, Matt, myself, Cindy, and Supervisor Ruffino were in the meeting. There was a lot of good discussion going on there. I think we laid some good groundwork, and we're moving along on that. One of the ways that, actually the main way that we were looking to fund the thing, which is obviously the biggest impediment, is by changing the fee structure for permitting in the town. And really, what Ed was able to bring to us was fee schedules from other towns, and he brought that to the meeting. It was very, very insightful. In looking at other fees for the different towns, we were nowhere near where we should be, in my opinion. And at this point, I'll just let Ed talk, because the rest of it was a lot on him.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was, the fee structure was the big one. Yeah, I mean, Lancaster is way behind on a lot of fees. So if you're going to fund a department, obviously you're going to want a way to pay for it, or at least, be cost neutral. So the discussion was, do you move ahead and form a department and try to hire somebody and then pay for it kind of from behind, or take a year, collect the new fees, so you build up a pot of money that you can go out and then hire somebody. I also discussed in a lot of other towns, as I said at the meeting, a little bit, I didn't want it to come across as self-serving, but a lot of other towns use consultants for the planning role. And they are paid for by the fees. I mean, they're still paid for by the fees that they collect. So the thought was to take a year, raise the fees now, and I provided Tom with some proposed fees. Use a consultant for a year, and then when you're doing budgeting in 2024 for the 2025 budget year, put that position in. So you have a year, almost a year, a little bit more of collecting money. So you got a pot of money to work with. You've got a year of working out the kinks in a new position. It's a planning coordinator role. It's not, you're not going to go out and hire a planner per se. If there's planning issues that come up in the town, whether it's the comp plan or something like that, you go hire a planning firm to do that. More of a planning coordinator role to kind of track everything, shuffle the paper, and make sure everything's where it's supposed to go. So what I said I would do, and I'm working on right now, is a job description of that coordinator. Cindy's working on some code revisions, mostly to do around the fees. The other thing I'm doing is the town has subdivision code, site plan code, subdivision regulations, and site plan regulations. And I put those together and trying to shake out where there's discrepancies. One is more detailed than the other, trying to make sure that flows. That's what I'm doing, actually. I'm putting it in a flow chart type of arrangement so we can kind of track stuff where stuff's supposed to go. So that's where we are. Hopefully have a draft of something here in the next week or two. And the fees, like I said, I don't know what Tom's schedule is on putting fees out there. I gave him recommendations.
Yep.
That's a code change. Where we're going with that is to take right now the fees are in the code. So every time you want to change a fee, you got to make a code change, you got a public hearing. What most towns do now is they just, in the code it says per the adopted fee schedule by the town board.
Right.
The town board every year can update those fees and adopt the schedule. So you don't have to change the code.
That's right.
And it doesn't even have to be annually, if I remember correctly.
The fee schedule can be,
Whenever-
the fee schedule can
whenever
be
you need
taken
it.
whenever
Yeah,
one.
they can be whenever they need them, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's just at most current adopted by the town board. That's the way the language reads.
Yep. Yep.
So Tom was looking at how to make that change in the code.
Yeah, that's always a good idea. I like that idea.
The organization.
Right, the organization means whether you adopt the yearly fee schedule.
Right.
Yep.
So clearly, this is germane to the board. Obviously, if we start talking about a planning coordinator position, or if we start talking about changing the code, it'll wind up being a public hearing type thing. So it is something that, whether you're interested or not, is something that's going to impact your life here. So I thought I'd make sure that you guys were on board, or understood where we were with that.
I got a question, though. Why would you not just keep using a consultant who's trained and probably better schooled on changes and updates and all that instead of hiring somebody?
That's the pleasure. I mean, you can go either way. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, like I said, there are towns that's all they have is a consultant. And, you know, we talked about then the consultant has staff behind them, that whether it's clerical or administrative.
Right, yeah, I mean, everything's there.
Yeah.
Whereas if you hire a planner, then the town needs to have the administrative staff to support that.
Office
And the
space.
paperwork and all the other stuff.
We did have that
with-
discussion, Tony.
Yeah, I mean,
Actually,
there's-
that's
yeah,
exactly,
there's, you know,
that's exactly what we
yeah.
talked about.
Yeah.
You know, one of the discussion points that I brought up to Ron was, this is, you know, the model that Ed's talking about, the one that you're talking about, it's not just one person, it's the whole company, as opposed to hiring one person,
Right.
and then you have to bring all the rest of those people and put them on, and it gets pretty expensive at that point.
Yeah. And like I said,
So is the thought that that person's gonna be a full-time town employee as a planner? Does the town really need a full-time planner?
well, that's why I said it's a coordinator. It's not a, you're not gonna go out and hire an AICP planner, because,
Well, you might get one.
well, you may, but that's probably overkill
Right.
for what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, I'm not sure you're gonna get
Not cheap.
a highly qualified person to take on that role, and I'm not sure there's enough in the town to keep that person busy.
Full-time. Yeah, I don't think it's full, it's not 40 hours a week. Some weeks it might be, and other weeks it might be.
Right.
Depends on the project flow.
Now, just my opinion from the professional side.
No,
I
it's
would
a good
think
opinion. It's,
You'd be better off just keep it as long as you can cover
Yeah, as long as your fees are-
consultants' fees by the fees, then why add another employee that comes with all the benefits and all the other stuff on top of it?
Yeah, and Tom was gonna talk to accounting to see if they can make sure they could segregate the fees so that, you know, they know what's coming in and they know what's being paid for.
yeah, there's some coordination that has to be done on that part, on that end as well.
The thing I like about it, someone who's hired as a consultant, yeah, I think about the towns that I worked with over the years that had a paid consultant that was belonged to a firm somewhere, depending on who had the bid that year, but usually it was the same person for year upon year upon year. And they get to know the town and they know the code, and then sometimes the town would finally say, well, we need somebody full-time, and they leap into the full-time position. And sometimes they didn't. You know. So I think the thought of getting a planning consultant and get someone doing some of the stuff that needs to be done, the sooner the better. I think it's a good idea with the fees. I like it a lot. I mean, I have a background in planning, and you might get someone who comes fresh out of planning school, just needs a job through a consulting firm, and there's nothing wrong with that either.
Yeah, I mean, I will tell you from even on the engineering side, I mean, I get stuff sent to me, but, you know, I'm turning around and giving it to junior staff and say, do me a favor, review this, and then review it with me, so
Exactly.
you know, it's-
Exactly.
So we're going to keep moving along on it, and then Supervisor Ruffino made sure to make note of the fact that he was only one vote on the board, and that it would still have to go in front of the board. So we're just going to keep putting it together, and eventually get to a point where we can give it to the board to take a look at.
Yeah, we'll have a
See what your
discussion.
thoughts are.
We'll have a discussion at the work session and let them know what's going on.
We'll put the business case together for them and have numbers and see where it goes from there. I'll just pass the picture down first, and while that's being circulated, I'll read the letter that I received that I talked about that's on here earlier. It came to me from Slavko and Laura. I should put my glasses on. I don't know, Stoyansky, I guess. They're at 1 Amory Drive. Lancaster Town Planning Board. Dear board members, on Monday, July 17th, 2023, we attended the Lancaster Town Board meeting to voice our concerns over the codes related to campers stored on properties in a subdivision in the town of Lancaster. On the property adjacent to ours, a camper has been placed in the backyard of the corner lot. As per the code, it is 5 foot from the rear property line and 35 foot from the front property line. Due to the fact that it is a corner lot, this placement sits less than 15 foot from our front landscaping. Their backyard is our front yard. We are upset with the fact that the aesthetics of our property is not being taken into consideration when placing the camper according to building code. We have been Lancaster residents for more than 20 years and are currently disappointed with the fact that the increase in trailers and campers that now reside in view of our property has gotten out of hand. We do not feel that the building codes help to ensure the integrity of our property or the upkeep of yards that are visible to homes of those who do take care of their property. We are now faced with a $3,125 fence estimate, which does not include the variance that would be required to go 8 foot into our front yard to screen the camper. We feel the code should place the responsibility on the owner of the recreational vehicle. The Village of Lancaster Code addresses the aesthetics of adjacent properties. We would like to be afforded the same courtesy. We are simply asking for these problems to be considered by the board in the hope of regaining the cleanliness and beauty of our neighborhood. Your consideration of this issue is greatly appreciated. Sincerely, Slavko and Laura Stanowski. I don't know how to pronounce it. Wanted to make sure that that was heard. I guess they were here for the meeting, but they didn't speak when we had our public hearing. Matt, did you get a similar letter? You did? Okay.
I'm looking at the picture, and to me, the camping unit is not offensive to look at, it's just there. But the pile of junk in the backyard isn't really nice.
It's pretty apparent that 41 Sagebush doesn't take good care of their property between the junk behind the garage.
Yep. Yep.
Well, the storage of debris is being addressed with the notices, most of those within the proximity of the property line, but that's here and there.
I know, and I get where they're going, but I mean, if you look at the, I don't know if that's a single car attached garage or shed or whatever, I mean, the roofing's not even fully intact and the shed looks like bad.
Maintenance issues, no doubt.
Yep. Wanted to make sure that was heard by the board, because they sent it to the board, but only put it in my mailbox. Cindy, I'll give you a copy of this so you can put it with the minutes. And then the last thing is the training opportunity that our training session we're gonna have tentatively scheduled right now for September 20th at 6 o'clock. Right? Chuck Malcolm's gonna come and talk to us potentially about seeker. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. Again, it's tentative, and I'll make sure that everybody knows if, in fact, we get it permanent.
When we put out the agenda, he would be committed at that point.
Okay.
I have to ask to be excused for that meeting. I think I'm out of town.
Okay.
I'm actually going on vacation.
Good for you. Okay, I will make a motion to adjourn, unless any other comments or questions from the board. Ed?
I was just going to give you a quick update, even though you passed it on Tim Hortons, Broadway and Bowen. DOT did get back to us, and they pretty much concurred with the county's requirements. They asked for some updates to the reports, which Lucas James has done. Got an email yesterday from DOT basically saying they're fine. So I passed it on to Dave to take to the town board.
That's good.
There's something that's stagnation. That's what pretty much what the mitigation was.
Yep.
The county and the state.
Yep.
I don't know where it's going to go. I don't know.
But everyone else has signed off.
When is it going to be up for vote?
Should be Monday night. Next meeting?
Yeah, that's
Monday.
Oh, great. Stay tuned. Ed, anything else?
No.
Emily, anything from the law department?
No.
Matt?
No, thank you.
Councilmember Mazer? Okay. Okay, I will make a motion then, motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion adjourned. Thank you.
Oh, the one that one in Maria's around the corner. I don't know.
Now you have a reason.
And when I do, I stop at every stop sign and beat and full stop, and I get rear-ended because everybody else is trying to run.
I would never run a stop sign. A red light, maybe.
Time every time I get nailed. Time after time. Yeah, because I stop at the stop signs. Everybody else.
You don't roll through?
The guy's cutting through to get to Windsor Ridge. I know.
Always got to be one that stops.
There's only one in Janet Forest that makes no sense to me.
Oh, in the middle of the, what is it?
I don't know, it's on that curve in Janet Forest North, or south.
You talking about the stop sign that's on the corner?
What's that?
Is there really a reason?
Yeah, it's on a turn.
Oh, I never stop at that
What
one.
is this?
I'm waiting for that, I'm waiting to get arrested.
Says the woman who
That's
stops
already
at
been
every-
in court, downstate. Another town did the
I
same
don't
thing.
know why it's there.
Do you know, I got pulled over for that
It should
stop
be-
sign.
Because it's supposed
I rolled
to be
through
an
it.
arrow. Instead of a
Do you know,
stop sign.
Enchanted Forest, as you round, like going through Enchanted Forest, and then turning onto Forest Street to go to like the tops there? So there's a stop sign, there's no cross street.
Oh, yeah, by the deaf child zone.
By the, yeah, by the,